Hi, Carol. Hey, Jamie, Louise, Shirley. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Yay! Shows up on my Facebook page. Thank you for that sound check, Jamie. I appreciate that very, very, very much. All right, guys. I am going to play the intro, and we're going to jump right on in tonight. Okay. Hi, Melba. Glad you could join us from Michigan. All right. So this is our March calendar, guys. Tonight, I am not doing a card tutorial or anything like that, but I did prepare one for you guys, and I replaced it with the Spiral Betty. Because I know there's going to be a lot of questions and a lot of playing going on. I didn't feel there was time to do a card at the same time. So I recorded a tutorial and it was uploaded in the last 10 minutes. So it's there, your card's there. If you're a Patreon or Ko-fi or a Cutie Collector or higher here on YouTube, you have access to that on the craftingwithapril.co site. If you're not a supporter, you can get access to all my files by supporting on Patreon. And as always, thank you to our fabulous moderators. Guys, we couldn't do any of this without them because they handle everything on the front lines while I do everything on the back side. So I greatly, greatly appreciate them. Thank you so much, girls. So, Spiral Betties. I'm going to pop over first and show you the card that I put up for you guys a few minutes ago. Cute little fun fold. I did some redoing on my Nuvo drops and I messed two of them up. And it shows in my photo, but guys, take your time, get yours right. I was rushed. But cute fun fold card. Little bit of dimension on there. You can have more dimension if you don't pop dot yours down. I show that in the video. So something that's been out for a long time. I just haven't seen it. I think this card must be about 10 or 15 years old. But anyway, it's fun. All right. So everybody's excited, I know, about the offsets and design space. So let's go and take a look at that before we jump into Spiral Betties, because I feel like once we get into the Spiral Betties that we're going to be there for a while. And let me pop this over for you guys. There we go. There it goes. It didn't want to go. Why is it called a Spiral Betty? I'm going to get into that in just a moment, Anita. Let's talk about offsets and then we'll combine all the Spiral Betty together. That way, when people come back, they don't have to watch this part of the live if they don't want to, and they can jump right over into Spiral Betty stuff. So we have the new feature that is called Offset. And I've done a update video for the learning tutorials for you guys. But I just wanted to come in and toss in a couple of projects in here or a couple of designs and show you guys how it works and just do a quick overview on it. First things first. And Jamie, if you can post in the chat exactly what the Mac requirements and the Windows requirements. I think it's Windows 10 64-bit. I don't know if there's a version on that. And I don't remember what the Mac version is. Guys, you are not going to see offset if you're on a mobile device. It is not on your mobile device. A lot of people have been saying, I can't get it, I can't get it, I can't get it. There are stipulations to getting this. First of all, you have to have Cricut Design Space 6.6. I'm on 121. I don't remember what the actual one where they popped it out was. I think it was 112. But they've been working on it. They continue to work on it. It does have a few bugs, but they're working those out as they arise. So be patient with it, okay? If it doesn't work for you the first time, you may need to clear your cache or come back in. I did notice that that mine didn't want to work on one of my images, but I closed it out, closed Design Space, opened it back up, and it worked perfectly for the exact same image. So guys, be patient and work with it while they're trying to get it up and running. 6112, that's what it was. And I'm on 6121, so... And you have to be, yes, Jamie, you have to be in the new canvas. If you are in the classic canvas and you don't remember how you done it, right here, top left, those 3 lines, that's a menu. We call it a hamburger menu. Select it. Come down to settings. And right here, you want to make sure that you're on the new canvas style. It will not work on classic. If you see, and I put this on, well, it'll make me replace my images. I don't want to do that. I'm going to cancel. If I do that, then my offset's going to go away if I go to classic. So those are the stipulations. You must be on a computer or a laptop. You must be in Windows 10 64-bit mode. Okay? Jamie says that's not the same as having a 64-bit processor. So I don't know. I haven't used Windows since Windows 7, guys. So I apologize, but I can't really help much with Windows. Jamie and Marianne are our Windows users, or, well, Jamie has both. Marianne, I believe, is Windows. They can help you with that. If you're on Mac, Jamie, myself, and I forgot. Somebody else has a Mac. Marianne, do you have a Mac too? I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, we will get you some help. Hi, Neela. Long time no see. The names are now showing up for my Facebook viewers. Yay! So things are working. Things are just starting to work. So they will help you with that, but make sure you're on that classic canvas and that you're meeting the requirements. And if you are, the offset should be there. And it's right up here on your edit bar beside edit. You also have to have an image selected. As you can see, it's not going to highlight if you don't have anything selected. But once you click offset, it's going to say beta because they are still working on it. Okay? They are still working on it. All right? So you can see that it's going to default at 0.25 unless I've been doing something. Now, if I change this to a 0.125, which is an 1/8 of an inch, it's going to change for me, and I'm going to select rounded, and you can see how it changed here. Then you must hit apply, okay? And it's going to give you that image. Now, when I go back in there, and instead of being on 0.25, unless they changed it now, you can see that it defaulted to what I last used. So if I wanted to change it for whatever reason, it would tell me what this one was, because I might want to go as an inset into that. And you can see that that's one of the ones that gets kind of wonky. It's kind of hard to see here. And if you're working on a canvas and you can't see, guys, click down here, bottom right, blank canvas, change your canvas color to something that you can see. Because if you're working and you're trying to make stickers and you make this white, you're not going to be able to see it on that white canvas, especially if you don't use a grid. Okay, so make sure that you're doing that. See how it disappeared? It's there, but it disappeared. So when you're working on a white canvas with white images, it doesn't always work. But if you change your canvas, you can see it. So don't forget about that feature being there. That way when you're lining up and you're doing things and you want to know what it's going to look like, you can see it. So those are one of the things. Go in there and play. If it's not meeting up or it looks kind of wonky, again, go out, come back in and try it again. It will work. You just have to play around with it sometimes. The other thing on offset right here, this corner, this is, if you look at these outer lines on the flamingo here, if I change that to corner, you can see, let me apply it, it kind of gets rigid. Well, that one didn't, for whatever reason. Maybe if I do words, you can see it better. Let me do some text. So I got create here in my, let me get rid of this one. Don't need it. Since it didn't do it, I wanted it to do it on one of them that was rounded, but it didn't want to play fair with me. So if I do the corner, let's move over here where we can see. You can see how it's squared up around there, around that T. That's what your corner is going to do. If I put it on round, you can see how it rounded it out. So lots of fun things you can do. What is weld offsets? You can see that that offset, if I apply it, I have one single offset. If I come in here and I uncheck that, I believe it comes in unchecked and I just had mine checked. Then apply. Now I have a separate offset per letter. Even though this is all in one, I still have a separate offset. So lots of things, go in there and play with that. The next thing, guys, are collections. We also got line type. I'm not going to go into that because we covered that once before. What they've done with this is your foil pen. If you see, if I do that in fine and then I duplicate it and I put it into, and it's going to work with your pens too. Put it into medium. You can see, and this is just so that you can get a better idea of what it's going to look like when you put it on your project. Because sometimes when we put those foilings on our projects or pens on our projects, it comes out and the font is fatter than what we wanted to, or the writing is fatter than we wanted it, and we weren't expecting it, and we were like, I wish I'd have done that a little bit smaller. Well, now you can take a look at it and see which one best suits your project. Does fine look better, or do I want to go bold, or do I want to go medium? And again, it's going to work with your pens. It's going to work with the foiling tool so that you can get a better idea of when you're in writing and stuff like that, what it's going to actually look like on your project. So that has been updated as well. And next we've got projects. I'm going to come over to my projects. And when you click on your projects, you can see over here you have categories. Now you can set up categories. And it's very simple, very easy to use. As a matter of fact, I'll make one for spirals and we'll use that tonight. But you can start a new one right here and you can type in and set up a collection. Okay? And or you can go in and you can oops, not that. You can want to cancel. You can click on organize and then you can select it and come down here at the bottom right and it will tell you how many you have selected, how many projects have you selected. And then hit next, and then you can put it in any category that you want. So if I want to do a vinyl and put this in vinyl and in spirals, I can do that because I can set up my collection as spirals. Oops, I'm not a typist, but if you know me, you know that. So now I've got my spirals and you can see that it auto selects it for me and I'm going to say done. But if I wanted to put it in mugs, I believe that I can click that too and it's going to bring that up there. So you can click and do as many as you want for that project. And then you're going to say done. Now when I go and I look over here in spirals, it's going to bring that up. You can also search your projects. You can also search in your collections. Okay, so when I search in collections, if I want to go to, I got so many boxes. I'm going to go into boxes. Let's just say I wanted the eraser box. I know that's one I did. I can type in eraser and search it, and it's going to bring that box up out of that collections for me. Okay, but if I have eraser set in about 3 or 4 of my boxes without the collections, it's going to search all of my projects when I'm in my projects. Now, one thing that you can do, and I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go over to spirals. What if I decide I don't want this? I'm going to delete it. And you can see right here, it tells you this project in this collection, the projects in this collection are going to be removed, but they're not going to be removed from your projects. And so I'm going to remove that. And then we're going to go over my projects, and you can see it's still here. Okay, I deleted that whole thing for spirals. It's not there anymore, but my project that was in it still there. Yes, if you are not an Access subscriber, you can only set up 5 collections. If you are an Access subscriber, you have unlimited. Doesn't matter if you're an Access subscriber or not, you can only put 100 projects into a collection. Donna, you only need to recalibrate your maker or any of your Cricuts for print and cut if it's not cutting properly. You should never have to do it unless you're getting bad cuts. Okay, so if anybody has any questions about your offsets or any Design Space question or your collections, please ask. We'll be happy to get the moderators to answer those for you, and if they can't answer them, we'll pop back over and we will show you on screen. I am just going to go to a new project now so that we start with a clean slate. Let me pull up my web page here, and if you guys want to play along, you want to go to spiralbetty.com. Why is it called Spiral Betty? That's what Anita asked. Why is it called Spiral Betty? Actually, I really don't know. I did follow the donate button, and I wasn't able to see. I am assuming that Betty is a name that it may be her name or a family member name or somebody that helped contribute to making the app. But I don't really know why it's called a Spiral Betty other than that. Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't trust that too much. Surely if they got it to go up to 108, it might have been a fluke thing. It may drop some when you open it back up next time, and they may not be in the collection. So I'm going to go by what Cricut said. They said 100 per collection, so that's what I put in mine. It does keep a count for you, so you can tell if you're adding, and when you get to 100, if you want to try and put more than that in there, by all means put more than that in there, but they may drop out at some point because they are still working on things and still tweaking things. So until they've got everything written in stone, I wouldn't count on that. So how do we do this? First of all, guys, you do not need a black and white image. You do not have to have a black and white image. I'm going to pop over to the overhead, and we're going to take a look at a couple of them that I cut, and then we're going to come over here and we're going to work on playing with this. Okay? Let's see. All right. So I did a picture of Lucille Ball because that's the one I had done, and that's the one I did in my I did a little 4-minute video for you guys. And in that 4-minute video, I said that you could probably use Design Space because the way that I was looking at it and the way that they were appearing, because I didn't have any close-ups, I thought maybe Cricut Slot will work. And it will to a point. Okay? If you want to do print then cut, You can do a spiral in Sure Cuts a Lot and add an offset to it, a very thin offset, and have it cut, and it should look perfectly fine. If it is a print then cut. If it is not a print then cut, you'll want to do Spiral Betty. This is Spiral Betty. It is not printed. It is just black vinyl. Here's the same one in red. So it works in colors as well as in black and white. I am going to say, I did these in vinyl, but I did them large. The smaller you go, the thinner some of these lines are going to get. They are not going to cut well. And I had 2 breaks in this one. I even said in my video, this may not cut well over here because it was super, super, super thin. I had one up here that did the same. So I had a break here and a break over here. Wasn't a big deal. As long as you know where it left off and you pick the right piece, you can pick it back up. Okay? Just make sure when you're weeding, if you have a break in yours, because your lines were so thin, that you pick the right section to start removing. Okay? And I'm just going to say, the smaller you get, the thinner some of these lines are going to get. And they are going to break. And remember, when you're working with adhesive vinyl, the smaller the line, the less adhesive you have. The less adhesive you have, the less sticking power you have. Okay? So if you're planning on sticking these on cups, I would say, if you want it short term, that's fine. But it's probably not going to stay unless you seal it with epoxy. Okay? This will work fine for iron-on. I've done some really thin iron-on before, and I had no problem with it staying. Okay? Just make sure you press it properly, and you should be fine. Somebody asked about infusible ink. I'm just going to say, that's going to be extremely iffy. Because those sheets of infusible ink are very, well, they're not real thick, but they're like cardstock. And it's going to have fibers in that paper, guys. Sometimes we have some of the bigger stuff, it doesn't want to cut, and then cracking it and getting all of that out of there. If somebody wants to try it, try it. I wasn't willing to waste a sheet of my infusible ink to try it, because I know what it will do to cardstock in the way that these cut. And I don't believe, unless you've got a brand new mat, a brand new blade, I wouldn't attempt to cut it with cardstock. And then if you did, I would cut it on intricate, and it's going to cut 2 times. This one was cut on vinyl. I didn't do any settings. I just did the normal everyday vinyl setting that's in Cricut. And we're going to cut one of these. And we're going to weed it to show you. They take 15 minutes. Well, 14.3. Well, it's actually like 14.27 seconds. So 14 minutes, 27 seconds it took the Cricut to cut this. It took me about 60 seconds to weed it. And I had 2 breaks in it. So I'm just saying, make sure that you are using good clean mats where your vinyl is not all bumpy and lumpy on it, and when you're cutting these, okay? But I think it will work pretty good with iron-on. That being said, if you are doing sublimation ink, you could print this, okay? Because all it's going to do is print the black, or print the red, because you're printing it on a white background. So if you only print it that way, it's going to come out that way. And you'll see that when we do the Spiral Betty. And so, yes, you can print it, and then you don't even have to cut it. You're just going to print it and flip that paper over, and boom, press it, you're done. So, yes, it will work on those. Let's pop over and start playing. So if everybody's got your Spiral Betty open, the next thing you want to do is look for an image. And now I'm going to play around with a couple of images. I got some of the girls to send me some of their photos, and I'm going to pop some of those in there so that you can see what works well and what doesn't work well. But first we're going to start working with those that we know work really well. So I'm going to pop in a photo over here, and it is drag and drop, so you can drag and drop or you can upload the image and find it. So we're going to bring in our image, and once you bring in your image, and that's the best I can crop it. It's got part of his hair cut off up here, but that's fine. Now I can zoom in and do more, but I'm just going to leave it where it is because I discovered something while I was playing around. And you can adjust a little bit after. So I'm going to hit my check mark. It comes in at a default this way, I believe. It may bring it in on the last thing you left it. And I change mine to the black and white when I'm setting it up, just so that I can actually see exactly what my vinyl is going to be. That way I can ignore the background and only concentrate on looking at the black. Because when we were seeing these and we were thinking they were print and cut, we were thinking that because of the way that the optical illusion is. Okay? And it's not really that way, because actually they weeded out what we were actually looking at as a cut, or vice versa. So you can go in here, and the first thing you're going to do is it's going to be set on rings. Now the more rings you have, the more of the photo you're going to get. And that's what I like, but it does make the lines thinner. Okay? So depending on what you're doing, you may not want to bump yours up that far. Okay, and you can see that they thicken up when I come down, how these thicken up over here. Okay, so it just depends on what you're doing. But it doesn't mean that I'm done yet. This is my starting point. And then I'm going to go to scale. And it's not going to let me really do anything until I click it. I don't know if you guys saw that. I'm going to bring that back in. But when I go to scale, I was thinking that all you could do is scale, and I was like, that's not working for me. But if you click on it, the crop comes up. Okay, so you can work on it a little bit more and crop it a little bit there. That will help you. You can get back to it here, but that's about all you can do there. And then on the lightness, this is where you can kind of bring this in. You can see how it's starting to fade out, but I can darken that up a little bit, and my lines got a little bit thicker. So I went with the highest number of rings, but I could thicken up those dark lines. The dark areas are where you want to concentrate. And if you're looking at these, I'm going to bring my rings back down just so you guys can see. This is why we can't do this in S-Scale, because you can see that the line is uniform, and then boom, we're in the dark areas, it widens up. And that's what helps gives us the photo and gives us that optical illusion. Okay, and that's why I said if you're doing your cuts a lot and you want to put a picture on a round circle and then do your spiral cut and do it thin with the thin offset, yes, it will work, because it's just going to cut out a thin line all the way around. But if you want it to give this optical illusion, it will not, because you can see all the dark areas. The line thickens and gets thin, thickens and gets thin. So that's why it won't work in your cuts a lot. So once you've got everything and you've got it set like you want it, I'm going to come down here to contrast and do one last tweak, and I'm going to bring that in. And you see how his eye starts to disappear if I get too high with that. So I'm going to bring that back down, and you're going to go and you're going to bounce back and forth between the light and the lightness and the contrast until you get it looking like you want it. Okay, and I'm thinking that I am pretty good with that right about there. To me, that one looks good, and I'm ready. Okay, so now you can go and play around. What are all these colors for? I guess if you want to do a print and cut, or you want to do a PNG, that's what they're for. But if you want to see what it's going to look like on a red shirt, okay, What's it going to look like on a pink shirt with maybe purple vinyl? So you can go in here and you can play around with this and get a feel for what it's going to look like using colors. Now you can't change, there's the black and teal, but there's one that's got like purple and close to teal. But you can go in and you can kind of see what it's going to look like on that color of a shirt or a bag by using that. Now when you download it, it's going to bring that in as well. So we're going to do a little test here because I haven't tested this. Does it matter? Let's see what I missed something. Yeah, it would look cool as a sublimation. I'm really digging these on these two-tone colors for a sublimation. But for the video purposes, I mean for your Design Space purposes, I'm going to go with a solid color and not a two-tone. And I'm going to download that simply by clicking the download. Now, I want to give a shout out to the owner of this. Make sure, guys, if you're getting a bunch of these, go in and buy her a coffee. $5, buy her a coffee. If you're going to be selling, you need to buy a license. Okay, and of course we can't sell this Elvis because we're not licensed to sell Elvis, but I can make it for myself. If you own your image, you can do commercial use right here for the 1-year license is $25, or you can opt for a royalty free for that unlimited of that or mass production of that one that you did for $3. Not very expensive to get yourself licensed if you plan on selling these, okay? Make sure that you are complying with what she asked. That, to me, she's being very reasonable, letting us have all of our personal non-commercial use at no charge. If you're going to be the person who does that, then please go in and give her a tip. Okay? So I'm going to hit download. We're going to download it. Just click the download button. And I'm on a Mac, so mine came in, and it's right here. Okay? But before I go any further, I'm going to bring this in, and I am going to download it in the black and white as well, just so we can see if there's a difference in cleanup. So I have both of them there. One is color, one is black and white, and you can see the color is just slightly larger. What is color in? Because I know somebody's going to ask me, what about those infusible ink pens and drawing? If you get this, then you can bring this in and you can color all of these fat areas in and draw your infusible ink image. Let's see how many were paying attention. You can set this to draw and draw your image and then color it in any way you want. Okay? I would do it in one color just to see how it came out and do it on test paper. It is called Spiral Betty, Manny. SpiralBetty.com. Okay, so now I have my 3 downloads right here. Boom, boom, boom. And we're going to open up Design Space. I thought that might get Shirley's attention. And we're going to play around. Now, the color may not work well on this particular image, but on some other images, it might be awesome. Okay, so we're going to check it out. We're going to keep playing. I just want to show everybody how to upload. Once you've got your image, you're going to come to Upload, and you're going to upload, and you're going to browse. And then I've got mine on my desktop, so well, no, that one's in my downloads. So here they are. Here are the 3. And I'm going to start with the teal one, and we're going to open it. You're going to choose Complex and Continue. And I'm just going to shrink this down so you guys can see the whole thing. Maybe not that small. So what I need to do now is I need to remove that teal background, okay? Because I'm not saving it as a print and cut, and I don't want that teal background back there. So I'm going to click on my wand up here. If it's not, well, it should be selected because it's automatic. And you see it didn't take all of those out. I'm going to have to go in there and pull each one. Everything that's in a teal color, I've got to go in and I've got to select it and get it out of there. I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to see, because it did work with my Lucille ball, so I'm going to see if it works with this one. I'm going to go to advanced options, and I'm going to bump that up, I don't know, 24 maybe, and click it. And you can see that it took them all out. Okay? I have no trace of teal in there. So make sure that if you don't want to go in and click each and every one of those, that you set your color tolerance up a little bit more. And then it will clean it up for you. Then you're going to hit continue. Hey, Pat. And then I'm going to say this. I'm leaving that Spiral Betty in there so I know where it came from and I can give credit where credit's due. And I am going to name this Elvis. And then in my tags, I'm going to say it's a spiral. And then it's also Elvis. And I am going to save it as a cut image. Okay? And upload. Now you see all those squares there. That's fine. It's not a big deal. I don't have them on the others, and that's because I did them in white. Just going to bring it in. And it's going to come in really large. And you're going to size that down to 11.5 is your max. I'm going to go over to contour. And I am going to select all 4 corners. I want to get rid of those. And then let my computer catch up. Is it going to catch up? It should. Doesn't really matter. You can leave them on there. Because if you don't leave those on there, you're going to just go back and put them right back. You're going to have to go in and get a shape. And then you're going to get a square. And you're going to make that 11.5. And you're going to arrange. Send that to the back. And then you're going to end up attaching it. Okay? So that when you go to weed it, I know it looks really weird now, right? When you go to weed it, you're going to take out all this area. So to me, it was easier. I didn't do any of that. And I just took my True Control knife and put a cut right here. And that's where I started. Okay. And I pulled all my corners off. Okay. So I'm not going to do that with this one. I like the fact that it gave me the 4 corners. So I'm just going to undo everything. And I am going to cut this one while we play in Spiral Betty. Because it's going to take about 15 minutes to cut, guys. So I'm just going to go back and get my contours back. There we go. That way I can pull these corners off and not interfere with it when I go to weed. Okay. So I've got it set 11.5 and I'm going to click Make It. If you're going to be doing iron-on, you need to mirror. You don't have to, Shirley. I was just showing that that's what you're going to need to do. But then you're going to use your X-Acto knife. But if you have these 4 corners that showed up, just leave them. That way it's going to be easier to weed. Okay? And then we're going to hit Continue. And no device found. That's weird. Let me hit cancel and say yes. Let me save mine. I'm going to have to close my Design Space. And I'm going to save this in spirals. And let's... Did I put it? I thought I did. Add a new collection. There we go. Create. And you can go in and edit them if you get... And we're going to save. All right. So let me... Oh, I was naming it. Duh. That's okay. Let me try it again. If it doesn't pop up, I'll have to close my Design Space. That hasn't happened. That's the first time that's happened. So I'm going to leave my Betty up. I'm going to quit my Cricut Design Space. Yeah, it's turned on. I made sure it was turned on. It just... Wasn't happy with it being turned on. And customize. I'll rename that Elvis later, but let's make it. Uh-oh. Okay, well, we're going to play in Spiral Betty while I try to get my machine to register. That's just really weird. I hope I'm going to cut one for you guys. Okay, you guys get to watch me do the fun stuff here. It doesn't want to recognize my machine. Haven't had that happen before. Let's see. Maybe if I go on Bluetooth. Okay, guys. I was hoping to cut one of these for you. I'm just going to close it out. Okay, let's do the fun stuff. Who has never cleared cache before? So we're going to hope this helps. I'm going to come over to here. And I've closed everything out. There's my Cricut folder. I'm going to move it to the trash. I'm going to empty my trash. I cannot restart, but hopefully I can reinstall Design Space and I can get it to work. Does anybody have any Design Space questions while we're trying to fix my maker? Remove it from the dock. Let me empty that trash again. All my Design Space is gone, so let's go and get it again. Because I can't reboot. If I reboot, I'll lose everybody. design.cricut.com. Well, I was hardwired. I'm USB. So I don't know why it did that. Not sure. But we're going to try Bluetooth. Maybe Bluetooth will give us the option. All the fun stuff. And then we're going to drag it. Oh, yes, it has changed for you then, Neela. It has. There's a lot of changes. We have brand new videos in the guides if you need help on anything. So that looks like it's done. Let's try and get it to recognize my Cricut. All right, and I get to sign in. Y'all don't need to see me sign in because I may not remember all my stuff. In case you're wondering what I'm doing here, I am searching for my password because I'll be the first one to say there is no way I remember all that stuff. And I missed it somewhere. I have about 75 notes here. Is that it? There it is. No, don't tell me that. It's not going to let me lock it. Ah, yay. Okay. Let's see. I apologize, guys. I don't know why Cricut all of a sudden decided to do that for me. I haven't had that issue yet. Okay. Well, you know what? It would help if I didn't typo my username. That's a big thing. They, for some reason, want that to be correct. I don't know why. They can't tell it was me. So now I'll set my machine. And I'm going to go for the maker. And it's going to tell me what's new. So hopefully, all right, if anybody has any ideas, let me know. We're not going to be able to see me weed it because I can't cut. So I apologize for that, guys. I wanted to show, I may do just a quick tutorial showing the weeding afterwards so that you guys can go and see it. How about that? And for now, we'll go in and we'll do some new things here. So I'm going to remove the image and say okay. So what if you have a color image? I am going to go to my desktop and I have Mickey here and I'm going to choose him for an upload. And he's in color. He's a little big for this. You could probably crop it down, but I'm just going to say okay. I like the look of that. And I'm in color mode, so I'm going to go back to black and white. And you can see everything is set. It comes in based on what they picked for it. But I'm going to go in and play with it. I'm going to bring in more rings for that. Scale is good. Lightness. I think I want to darken this up. But you can see, I want to see a difference from the red shorts that were there. And then contrast. That right there looks good to me. So I've got a good contrast there. So I'm pretty happy with that. So once you're happy with the image, again, you're just going to download it and bring it in. So color images you can do. I may have, Marianne, I may have hit it. Let me double check that. You know what? Marianne, you are so smart. So smart. Marianne to the rescue. Duh. It's exactly what happened. I was doing spring cleaning today, guys. And guess who knocked the cord out? Okay, so I'm going to go over to Popular. I'm going to select Vinyl, and we are going to load that. I'm not going to change anything. Yay! Thank you, Marianne. I could just give you a big hug and a kiss right now. I am not going to go on fast mode, guys, and I'm going to hit my cut button. All right, so it's preparing, detect the tool, all that. You guys know all that already, unless you're brand new. And if you're brand new, then you'll need to follow your on-screen prompts. So we did a little Mickey, and hopefully if my machine's too loud, you guys let me know and I'll speak up. So while that Elvis is cutting, we're going to come over here, and I just want you to know that mine, I don't know about yours, yesterday it stayed at 0% until it finished. I don't know why, but don't panic if it's cutting. So I'm going to remove this image, and we're going to go get another one so you see what it does with color. And again, you can do your color pieces over here. I'm going to grab an image of this rose. I've been playing and checking it out. And what you're looking for when you're searching these kind of photos is not so much the color, but your light and your dark contrast. Okay? That's what you're looking for. The more light and dark contrast you have, the better your image is going to be. And I'm just going to mark that. And you can see that it's bringing it in there at my last settings. But again, you can go in and you can adjust the rings. Oh, I'm on contrast. That's good. There we go. But you can see those lights and darks coming in there. I'm going to darken it just a little bit more. And play with the rings. See, I can thicken those up, and it looks really good right there. I don't need to max out the rings on that image. So the number of rings, your scaling, your lightness, darkness is going to depend on each and every single image. Okay? So, and there you go. You can change it. It's not really going to show you much, but it may help you see the black lines and what's going to cut. The black is what you're keeping, okay? And that's what's going to give you that image. Is everybody with me? So I'm going to remove that. We're going to play around with another one for the light and dark. And here's a daisy. And you can see I've got a lot of light and a lot of dark in this one. This one was a really fun one. I'm going to get rid of that, go to the black and white. And you can see that one, because of the other settings I used, it came in almost. But look, if I go and make that thicker, I still get a good, on that lightness there, I still get a good image. And I can even come in on this one. That one's going to give me a nice look. So lots of fun, super easy. I mean, and that gives me a lot of the wide lines and a lot of the thinner lines on the inside, but I get a lot of the wide out here in this dark area. Okay? So go in and select your images and play with them, and we're going to do a couple of the girls' photos that they sent me. I might get them mixed up. Tell me if I get them mixed up. This is Louise's baby, who refuses to wear his mask. Or her mask. His or her. Guys, I forget the pups' names. I'm sorry. We're going to bring that one in. And then you can go in and you can start playing with these. That's the contrast. I like to kind of start with the rings first. And see, and kind of like that better with all the rings in there. The scale is good. If I wanted to do some adjusting, I can click on it and crop, and it's just going to take me right back to where my settings were. So I adjusted a little bit, and now I'm on the lightness. I don't want to lose the facial on there, so I'm going to kind of bring it in so we can see it, the shiny coat. And then go on the contrast maybe. And to me, that one looks pretty good. So go in and play, guys. And I'm going to go ahead if Louise wants this one. Kaylee, that's it. I'm going to save this one for Louise for letting us use her photo. So I've got that downloaded. Don't let me forget to send it to you, Louise. And now let's play around with... Say okay. And I'm going to go in and grab... Let's grab Marianne's baby. Oh, adorable. And I did not check these guys with removing background. So if you want to use your background removal tools, either use Canva and remove a background, or use the background remover, the free one, remove background. That one might work as well, if you don't want the background in your photos. But you can see that you have to go in and you have to adjust per image. Depends on how abstract you want it to be. Oh, how cute. Adorable. Let me download that one for Mary Ann. And now we'll take a little peep at Sue's grand dog. Sue has a grand dog. Let's see, where is Sue's picture? There he is. And I can't slide him over much, but he's showing that I didn't do it face. And I'm just going to bring that one in. And you can see how on some photos you can bring them in and scale them in. That way you can cut out some of that background that way. And let's go to rings. I have a feeling this one's going to need more rings. And scale. There we go. Just brought it in a little bit more. I want to get his eyes, so I'm working, because he's dark and I'm trying to get those eyes in there. I'm going to play around with that contrast a little bit. And then the lightness, then you can go in and darken up a little, maybe. I think we got it. Let's bring, there we go. Oh, how adorable. So, super fun, super easy. Go in and play with all these photos, guys. You can do it. Now, I did do one, and I had trouble with it last night, and it was like what we used to call culp, which is a Sephora. It's a kind of like a brown and white photo, and I was having trouble with this one, but we're going to try it. And I do nothing. Whatever it was I did for it. This one, it worked today. I had trouble with it last night, but now it looks really good with the same settings that I used for Sue's dog. But I couldn't hit those settings last night, so I'm going to save that one. Because I plan to do a wrap pack set with mine. So I need Marilyn and James Dean and all of those guys. So does anybody have any questions on playing around and doing the Spiral Betty? Anything that anybody wants me to try? I didn't do the black and white Mickeys, but you can do those as well. I guess you guys saw that. I'm just waiting to see if anybody has any questions. What kind of vinyl do I use for this? I'm going to show you exactly what I used. Let's pop over to the overhead. The big reveal. What vinyl did I use? Ta-da! And it cut and weeded beautifully. That's what I used. This one I did as an experiment, and it is StarCraft, I think. Nope, Oracle 631. Also cut beautifully. So I wanted to make sure it wasn't any difference in the vinyls. And I had no difference in cuts. And I also did one, because I wanted to do one in red, I wanted to make sure that you would still get the effect doing it in red or doing it in colors, and that they just didn't have to be black and white. But personally, this is one of the reasons why I like the lay flat Cricut. Because now when I got to do my transfer tape, I don't have to fight. You can always stick it back on your mat to get your transfer tape on there. The lay flat vinyl, you don't have to. Sepia, that's right. So those can be tricky, but yeah, I don't have any problem with the Cricut transfer tape. I don't use the strong grip unless I'm doing glitter, but I use the Cricut tape. I don't use contact papers, guys. I just don't. I know a lot of people do. A lot of people like them. And if that's your dig, then that's fine. I don't use contact paper because I have had it or seen it happen so many times. And I used, I forgot, one time, and it did it to me. But it can leave a residue on the vinyl. Guys, you can't get that off without, especially on thin lines like this, you're not going to get that residue off there without destroying the adhesive. It's just not going to happen. And then you've wasted your whole sheet of vinyl. So that's why I use transfer tapes. I stick to them. If you don't like the Cricut brand, I don't have any problem with it. As I can get 5 or 10 uses out of my Cricut brand. When I use the Caesar PSV brand, I like it as well as I do Cricut. But I get maybe 2 uses out of it, and that's it. And then I have to go and get another piece. So if you use the Cricut brand, you're going to get more transfers out of it. And let's see where we are on our cutting. See, that's what mine's doing. Let me transfer over and show you guys. It's not moving. And I'm just guessing that the reason it's doing this is because it's cutting quick enough, but it isn't giving the counter time to catch up to it. It's not, my machine isn't pausing quick enough for this part to catch up. Right, Pat, that I know a lot of people like to cut corners, but I'm just going to say, there it goes. I'm just going to say, if you're cutting corners, don't cut corners on your transfer tape. There's no need to try and ruin your design over a few pennies. There's just really, if you're not going to use Cricut, then use Caesar PSV or an actual medium grip, actual transfer tape, because the transfer tapes have a different type of adhesive than contact paper. It's a totally different type of adhesive. I have never had an issue with Cricut transfer tape. I can work with any tape that you give me. My problem with the contact paper is, and even press and seal, I can see when somebody's used press and seal because I can see the pattern of press and seal. It leaves a residue on it, and I can see the pattern on shiny vinyl. So it has finished cutting. So let's go over. Here is the big reveal, guys. Let's make sure that we, okay. And I just ejected it. Marianne, you're so smart about that. Thank you. On that USB. I didn't think to even... I checked the back of the machine, but I didn't check the back of the computer. So here it is, and I have cut... I left those corners in, and you can see that we still have that outside edge piece. And I'm just going to get rid of it. We're just going to pull those off without getting them stuck on the design. And you can see where I didn't cut it. That's what I was talking about, cutting it with your X-Acto knife. You want to make sure that you cut this piece loose. Or your true control knife, I should say. And I am going to just going to get rid of all of this stuff before I start weeding my design. That way we don't have anything to interfere with it. I know I should be using my weeding tool and not my true control knife to do this part, but I had a place in there that didn't cut. I should have looked closer at it. Make sure you look at the beginning of your spiral before you cut it. I had one little place. Pay close attention down here. So I'm just going to lift this up. The small skinny end is supposed to stay if I don't mess myself up here with my boo-boo. And then you're going to start weeding right here. And that's what I'm saying. Take your X-Acto knife and where this starts, come up to this line without cutting that next line and cut this away right here. Just cut it away. And then I'm going to get that in the camera right up here to your first line and just take that X-Acto knife and cut so that you can peel out everything away before you start this. Then you're just going to get that tail and you're going to start pulling it. I'm going to turn this around just so that you guys can see. I had a break. And some people are not having those. Some are. And I'm saying it's because I did so many thin rings. And that's why I have that break. And I'm kind of glad it happened on this because I want you guys to see. You want to go back in and make sure that you're taking out the right one. So I just kind of follow it along with the weeding tool. And it left a slight little piece there. I'll go back and get that out later. But you just want to start it again. And just make sure that you're pulling out the correct line. Hey, this one's going to have a couple of them, it looks like. The more rings you have, the more this will happen. The fatter that your rings are, the less it will happen. And that's why I said if you are planning to do these smaller, you're going to have much fatter rings. Okay? You can't go thin with it if you've got a ton of rings. I'm just going to keep pulling. You can see I'm just pulling. It's like a cassette tape, in case some of you who don't know what those are. It's like trying to put all that back in. Just want to make sure I get the right one. Where did it go? That one stays. It's more than one way to skin a cat. I'm going to go in here to the center. I believe that's the right one. If you have a lot of breaks, I'm going to make sure I got the right one first. I'm going to hit finish and take a look at my screen. See what stays and what goes. Yep. Just going to pull this from the center because I can't see where my other one was because it's so thin. It's an optical illusion. So I've just followed that line along. I'll go in and I'll take out that little bit of a line there that I left. But if you do if I had went maybe, I don't know, 4, 5 less rings, these probably would not have broken. But when I was live and rushing, so it made it. I didn't have time to take the time and get everything in the live tonight. Here we go. Now I have those 1 or 2 places where I had my break. I got to go in and get that very teeny thin line out. But other than that, that's all there is to it, guys. It's done. I got a little bitty piece right there. There was one more. Nope, that's not a piece. That stays, I think. Nope, there's a cut. There it is. I have to get that where I can see it. I will probably take a lint roller to that and pull it up. So super fun, super easy. But you can see how well they come out. It looks like a photo, but it's only vinyl, okay? Only vinyl. I hate track Shirley. Thank you, Marianne. All right, guys. So have fun with these. I know that they play tricks on your eyes. They play tricks on my eyes. So, but I got through it. But go and play, have fun. I can't wait to see what you guys create with these. And if you need to refer back, the short video that I posted up, it's in the groups and it's in the March calendar, the one with the purple banner. It's a 4-minute video if you need to refresh, and the only thing that I didn't do on that one was cut and weed. Okay, so you guys can see what's going on. Shirley, if you're going to put one of these on a canvas, I'm just going to say, if you do vinyl, you're a bigger person than me, because there is no way. I fight with the big fat letters to stick to canvas. I'm going iron on. If I touch a canvas, I'm going iron on. All the way. There is no way I would attempt to put this vinyl on a canvas. On glass, yes. If you want to put it on glass or even a cardstock and put it in a shadow box, that would work. Or reverse it and put it on the inside of glass. You could do that. I don't think you would have a ton of air bubbles with these because the lines are so thin. But try it and see. If I did the wet method on one of these to do it on the reverse side of glass, I don't think I would peel my transfer tape until 24 or 48 hours because the lines are just so thin. Right, Louise? So lots and lots of fun coming. I think I have already done our annual supporters file for this month. I think I got 1. I may have gotten 2. If I didn't get 2, I will get to it, guys. I still have a week. I'll get it out to you. I'll make sure that you got your 2 files for the month. Oh, that would be cool, Shirley. But yeah, I'm going to encourage you to use iron-on for these. Or either shadow boxes where they're not handled, because these lines are so thin, if they're going to be handled on a daily basis or cleaned frequently, these thin lines probably are not going to stay. If you are going to do it, I'm going to say use Cricut vinyl, because I know when you do thin things like this, I have known Cricut vinyl to hold longer than anything else, in my experience. Yeah, I saw somebody did one on a shadow box with glass. I seen someone do, I don't know if you guys saw my Spotify frame that I did. When we did the Spotify frame, they did one of these with a Spotify on it. So lots of things are coming out. Let's see how creative our group can get and how innovative you can get with it. I can't wait to see what you guys do. Does anybody have any other questions? Thank you to all of my Ko-fi supporters, my Patreon supporters, and my YouTube memberships. Greatly, greatly appreciate you guys. You keep everything going. Thank you to my moderators. You guys are the best. The absolute best. Oh, yay. Come on, Shirley. Share those projects, guys. Please share your projects. We want to see your projects. If you are posting, if somebody asks to see what you've done with Easter, when you post that, only people that actually go through the comments see that. Post your Easter projects in a separate post so everybody can enjoy your good work. Make sure you're making your own post and not posting on somebody else's post. We all want to see it. You guys have a wonderful night. Thanks for joining me. Please give a thumbs up, like, share, and I'll catch you on the next video.